Good morning, folks. How are we all today? New week, new month, new pending disaster. Oh. Good start to the week, folks. Some interesting headlines, and we'll get into them after we say hello to a few people. Good morning, Jane3286. Good morning, Early Butterfly Effect. Good morning, Gary Sanderman, Spanner Mac, Jim Soralpa, Mel, Ackies, Stephen Nicol, Peter M, Andrew Luke. Good morning, Andy. Kirsty Hamilton. Ackies. Good morning, Ackies. Lorna Shields. Lorraine. Good morning, Lorraine. You're back in Facebook jail, are you? You've been annoying the Yuns again. Morning, Linda. Good morning, Alexandra. No, I think we'll just put her back to Sandra. I'm always Sandra. Morning, Vince. Morning, Jammy. Right. Numbers are climbing nicely here. So let's get this one underway, shall we? Morning, Ali Watson. Dexter. First up this morning, we'll get the Times. What's the Times go for us this morning? Trump vows to press on. President says plan to eradicate regime ahead of schedule. Iran response breaches defences of Gulf states and Israel. Trump vows to press on. This stuff is pretty disturbing, folks. What happened to international law and the international order? Starmer U-turns on military bases. This one worries me. Starmer U-turns on military bases. It would appear we're being dragged into another illegal war. But these headlines get more interesting as we go on. The other thing is, who gave Starmer permission to U-turn on military bases? Where was the vote in Parliament to get the UK involved? Starmer's one of 650 MPs. He leads a political party. He does not speak for the people. The 649 other representatives in that place doing that fucking road represent the people. And they should be consulted on whether we should participate in this illegal endeavour. You're cleaning your boots as the sun's out, Desiree. Why not? Doing with the Times. Next up, we've got the Rancid. I don't put it up, and it's got 20,000 Scots in Middle East trapped in war zone. Expats and tourists shelter from Iran's bombs. It started. The demonization of Iran to justify an illegal act carried out by the Americans and the Israelis against Iran. And first out the blocks to demonize the Iranian people and get the mugs ready to die, is their answer. The Daily Record. The Iranian people have never done anything to me, and as far as I'm aware, they have never attacked another sovereign state. They've retaliated when being attacked, but to my mind and my recollection of history, Iran hasn't threatened any fucker in my lifetime. No one. As for regime change, that's how we got to where we are today. The Iranian state was a liberal state, a tourist attraction, and a wonder of the Middle East. It was regime change that got us fucking here. And they think doing the same thing against the fucking answer. Stupid is as stupid does. Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you. It's appreciated. Jesus Christ. Regime change is how we got fucking here in the first place. After they're answered, we've got the National. We'll get it up. Warning, UK at risk of being pulled into a legal war, says Mr. Polanski. What he also says is that we're going there because Starmer's too weak to stand up to Trump. Well, actually, the UK is in such a weak situation internationally that it'll do whatever it's fucking tell. Because if it doesn't, it'll get slaughtered by Trump. Wow. As you can see, folks, I'm a bit angry this morning at these headlines. We're about to be dragged into another illegal conflict, and we have no recourse. None. Scotland has no voice in this. None. Right, after the National, we've got the Scum. And what's the Scum go for us a day? Well, it's on the demonisation of Iran as well. Suspected blitz by Iran. Attack on RAF base. Blast at Cyprus airfield. Scores sirens as Brits take cover. What did they think was going to fucking happen? They're allowing the Americans to use that fucking base to strike Iran. Did they think the Iranians weren't going to strike back? Are the Iranian people just to be slaughtered without defending themselves against an illegal attack on their sovereign state? Wow. There are clear breaches of international law going on here, and the UK is complicit and has been since the start of the genocide in Gaza. This conflation, as far as I can see, is to protect a lot of powerful people from being held responsible for the consequences of their actions. And some poor people in the Middle East are going to fucking suffer for it. Because there's a bunch of extremely wealthy people in the world don't wish to be held responsible for their actions, so the fucking plebs will die to avoid them facing the consequences of their actions. Iran hasn't done nothing to any of us. None of us. It's only ever struck back after being attacked. Where the fuck is the decency here? This state has done nothing to any of us. But we have perpetrated huge crimes on that state more than once, including the regime change that happened in the 70s. Fuck's sake. What a way to start a new month. Anyway, next up we've got the Scotsman, I believe. Aye. So let's get the Scotsman up. Thousands of UK nationals stranded as Iran hits back. Now that's an honest headline. Not like the Scotsman, but on this particular occasion, it is an honest headline. Iran is striking back against an illegal strike on its sovereign territory by the United States of America and Israel, two rogue states. But it won't be Trump, Starmer, or Netanyahu's children who die. No, that'll be yours. That'll be your children who will pay the price and the sacrifice. It would appear there's a draft coming. But we're no powerless. Next up, we get a Daily Fail. And we'll get to why we're no powerless when we get to the end of this. For fuck's sake. UK draw up rescue plans for Britain's trapped in Gulf state. As Starmer U-turns on letting US use British bases to launch strikes on Iran. Ministers prepare for mass evacuations via Saudi Arabia. Middle East in flames. UK draws up rescue plans for Britain's trapped in Gulf states. Britons who are being put in danger by the illegal actions of an alleged ally. Oh, fuck. In order to, so that a bunch of really powerful people don't have to face the consequences of their actions. Who would have thought the Epstein files would lead to World War III? Thank you very much, Alexandra. Who would have thought the Epstein files would have led to World War III? Right, after the fail, we've got the loony rag, the Express, I believe. Yep, let's get that up. Many of these elusive Bretons that I've never fucking met. Anyway, mass evacuation plans on a mass evacuation plans as Britain allows US to use our bases to attack Iran. 94,000 Britons trapped in Middle East. So Starmer is allowing the US to use our bases to launch illegal strikes against the sovereign state of Iran. Wow. With regime change in mind. Bear in mind, folks, Iran's sitting about 12% of the world's oil and has a wealth of rare earth minerals. Funny these terms keep coming up when it comes to conflict. Oh, next up we'll get the Telegraph. That's got a really interesting take on this today. Really interesting take on it. So let's get the Telegraph up, shall we? The Telegraph. Now, I'll tell you what it says. Britain backs war on Iran. Who fucking said we do? I've no my say. My representative hasn't a dare say, even though they're a Labour fucking representative I've got at this point in time. There hasn't been any vote in Parliament to okay what Keir Starmer's doing. Funny that the way another Labour government, another illegal fucking war. Anyway, what's this flag going to say? Trump says regime ready to talk to end attack. They were already in talks. They were on the fucking table when you launched the attack, you big orange fucking paedophile. Number 10 plans mass evacuation to save thousands in the Gulf. Oil prices to jump 10% as OPEC nations cash in. Well, that's fucking interesting, eh? They're a take on it. War's good for oil prices. Wow. It's an interesting take on it for the Telegraph, eh? But I dare say they've all got shares in oil companies. After the Telegraph, we'll get the Herald. The Herald will not be touching this with a fucking barge pole, I can assure you that. Wait for new 2 million housing quango will last for years, says Conservatives. The Tories are complaining that the SNP have not built enough houses. The irony of it, 14 years they were in power and didn't build any fucking houses. They left it to the private sector and market forces. And here's the Tories in Scotland demanding a government that's built over 80,000 fucking public housing, or 80,000 houses, but they need to build more houses. What's the 2 million quango thing? Well, the Scottish government are putting together a body to build fucking houses. Okay. But I knew the Herald wouldn't be touching this illegal conflict with a fucking barge pole. And that's what it is, an illegal conflict. An act of aggression against a sovereign state who's done nothing. And all because Trump is floundering, facing prosecution, and a bunch of powerful men are shiting themselves over what's come out in the Epstein files and what might come out in future releases. UK planning to evacuate Britons from the Middle East as Iran war grows. It's a war. It's not good. Iran war grows. I guess it's going to be an escalation then, folks. And when Iran has struck all the other Middle Eastern states who are hosting the Americans, then hopefully they will tell Trump to get his troops and get to fuck, and in the League of Arab Nations can get round the fucking table and sort the mess out. Right, after the Herald, we've got the Metro. Let's get it up. Death throes of the tyrant. So that's interesting. Yeah. Have we hit the eye? Must have done, it's not there. Well, anyway. The Metro. The Metro. Death throes of a tyrant. More demonisation of the Iranian people to justify an illegal attack on a sovereign state. A sovereign state where the West imposed regime change before, and that led to this man and his council of clerics coming to be the leaders of what before was a very liberal secular society in the Middle East. But this is demonisation of the Iranian people because it appears we are going to have escalation, folks. That's not good. And it's about the time the Arab League stood up to the Israelis and to the Americans and told them to get to fuck. Collectively, they have the wealth, they have the wealth, they have the might. They should be collectively telling the Americans to get off their soil and get to fuck, get round the table and sort it out. Right, last but not least, because young Reagan will have something no doubt to say on this, and he'll be up after me on YouTube. Okay, last one, the Star. What's the Star got for us? Middle East terror, the great escape. And apparently, there'll be a mass evacuation as Iran wages war. Let me fix that for you, Daily Star. Iran are no waging war. Iran are retaliating for an attack on their sovereign territory by the United States of America and Israel, facilitated by the UK. Netanyahu's fled Israel. I haven't heard that. And you're right, look, Indy. Turkey next, then Egypt. Retaliating and defending. Aye, interesting. Well, folks, know the way you wanted to start March. Know the way I wanted to start March. But let's be clear on this. Trump's a weak leader. He's floundering at home, and he needs something to divert the American people's attention away from his disastrous regime. Netanyahu's in Germany, is he? No. Is the Epstein files going to trigger World War III as a bunch of billionaires try to avoid the consequences of their actions? I did say we're not powerless. So when that draft comes, you tell your children and your grandchildren that Davy says, burn the fucking letter and go about your business. And if they want to lift me for telling you that, they know where I live. But Keir Starmer has got us all complicit in a genocide, and he's about to drag us into a war, another illegal war. Another Labour Prime Minister, another warmonger. It's quite convenient for Starmer to take, because just like Trump, he's a weak leader. He hasn't got a fucking Scooby what he's doing. The people on these islands are very discontent. And this is convenient for Starmer. Well, 9 weeks out for the Scottish and Welsh elections and some local authority elections in England. State of emergency would stop elections here and, of course, in America. But we're no powerless. Starmer wants to get us into a war. But when he's used up the 76,000 fucking troops he's got available to him, plus the reservists that are daft enough to take the call, when it comes to a draft, we're no powerless. Just don't fucking take it. Or, of course, you can always take your young down to the doctors and get them diagnosed with bone spurs quite quick. All right, I'm sure your local GP will be sympathetic. I'm very sure he will be. Right, that's the start of the week. That's the first one under. The belt. Now I'm going to start getting your money out to the charities. We're going to go to the biggest settlement in Argyll and Bute, because that's where the majority of people are, and that's where the majority of poverty is. And as I've identified the food banks and get the money out this week, I will make you aware of who gets it. You already know the amounts. And you'll get to see one of these. Not you're able to read it. The bottom 3 transactions there are the £250 for last month. Okay. Well, the numbers will be at the other end. See 3 250s. Anyway, you know what happened to that, and you've seen the photos of what wee mammy here and the Barton did with it. So you guys, we'll see you this afternoon, 4 p.m. Don't be late, you're on the notice there. Eyes on the prize. Will there be an election? Or will there be a state of emergency? As I say, get your young. In the GP, bone spurs are going to be fucking rife. See you all this afternoon. Bye for now.